left in 2007, when you left Grey's Anatomy, there was so much conversation around your departure because you had allegedly made a homophobic comment about your former co-star, T.R. Knight.
For nearly 2 decades, Grey's Anatomy has captivated audiences with its gripping storylines, heartbreaking moments, and unforgettable characters. Yet behind the cameras, the drama has been just as intense as on screen. Over the years, some of the show's most beloved actors suddenly walked away, leaving fans shocked and heartbroken. Their exits weren't always about creative choices. Many hid deeper tensions, conflicts, and personal struggles that few ever knew. So, what was the real reason that truly drove these actors to leave Grey's Anatomy? Let's find out. The exits that shaped Grey's Anatomy. The doors of Sloan Memorial Hospital never seem to stay still. Just as new doctors and interns walk in, others inevitably walk out, leaving fans with heavy hearts and unforgettable memories. Over the years, Grey's Anatomy has become almost as famous for its emotional goodbyes as for its groundbreaking storylines. Some exits come suddenly, written in for the sake of dramatic storytelling, while others happen quietly, sparked by an actor's personal decision to move on. Not every farewell is permanent, though. In true Shondaland fashion, goodbyes often carry a silver lining. While certain characters meet tragic ends, others get second chances, popping back into Sloan for a guest appearance or finding new life in spin-offs like Private Practice and Station 19. These returns give devoted viewers the comfort of seeing their favorites again, if only briefly, reminding us that the Grey's universe stretches far beyond a single hospital. Few exits have been as shocking or as emotional as the death of Patrick Dempsey's Dr. Derek McDreamy Shepherd, a moment that left fans reeling. Others, like Sandra Oh's brilliant Dr. Christina Yang, left on their own terms, soaring to new adventures in Switzerland and reminding viewers that not all departures are tragedies. Some leave through heartbreaking losses, others through inspiring reinventions. Each exit reshapes the show's pulse, leaving gaps that are filled with new faces, but never truly forgotten by longtime fans. That is the unique rhythm of Grey's Anatomy. It constantly evolves while keeping the memories of its departed characters alive. So, whether it's a farewell drenched in tears or a hopeful wave toward a new horizon, the exits from Sloan Memorial tell their own stories. We shall look into a handful of exits in Grey's Anatomy. Who is the first on the list? What was his role? Why did he leave? Let's delve into the details of what underscored the fall of Dr. Burke. The first premiered, Isaiah Washington. When Grey's Anatomy first premiered, Isaiah Washington's character, Dr. Preston Burke, was at the heart of the story. He wasn't just another surgeon. He was portrayed as a gifted, determined doctor whose complicated, passionate relationship with Christina Yang quickly became one of the show's most captivating storylines. For many fans, Burke was essential to the show's early identity. But in 2006, drama behind the cameras threatened everything. Word spread that Washington had used a homophobic slur during a heated clash with co-star Patrick Dempsey. The timing made the situation even more explosive when fellow actor T.R. Knight, who played George O'Malley, chose to publicly come out as gay shortly afterward. Suddenly, the private conflict became national headlines. Washington initially denied the accusation, then shifted course by releasing a public apology, acknowledging his mistake and addressing colleagues, fans, and the LGBTQ+ community. Yet the damage was done. A BC, under immense pressure, announced in 2007 that Washington would not be returning. His departure left shockwaves through the cast and storyline alike. Washington expressed anger, insisting he had been treated unfairly. Meanwhile, the show had to rewrite Burke's arc abruptly, leaving Christina devastated and fans reeling as their engagement collapsed. This off-screen scandal marked one of Grey's Anatomy's earliest controversies, setting a precedent for the show's willingness to confront messy exits and to shatter even its most beloved on-screen relationships. It was a painful reminder that behind the glossy world of television, real-world conflicts could end careers and alter storylines forever. For many fans, Burke and Christina's abrupt breakup wasn't just heartbreaking drama. It was the moment they realized Grey's Anatomy would never shy away from chaos, on or off the screen. While we leave Washington's sack, the next actor whose exit wasn't defined by scandal. Who is she? What role did she play? Let's talk about the spin-off exit from Grey's Anatomy. Kate Walsh, the spin-off exit. Few entrances in TV history were as iconic as Addison Montgomery's "And you must be the woman who's been screwing my husband." Kate Walsh brought instant fire to Grey's Anatomy, but by 2007, her path took a surprising turn. A BC announced private practice, a spin-off built entirely around Addison. Unlike many others, Walsh's exit wasn't marred by scandal. She embraced the new opportunity, later admitting she had done all she could at Seattle Grace. She had delivered babies, wrecked a marriage, and dated half the staff. Moving Addison to Los Angeles gave her character fresh life. And for fans, it marked the beginning of the Grey's Anatomy universe expanding beyond the hospital walls. Who is the next on the list? Which character did he represent? How did he leave? Let's dive into the details of the quiet goodbye of the kind-hearted underdog, T.R. Knight. George O'Malley was never the loudest or the flashiest character on Grey's Anatomy, but that was exactly why fans loved him. He was the kind-hearted underdog, the awkward intern with more compassion than confidence. Yet behind the scenes, T.R. Knight, the actor who brought George to life, began to feel sidelined. By 2009, his role had shrunk so noticeably that he felt almost invisible in a series where others shone brightly. Knight later described what he called a breakdown of communication with showrunner Shonda Rhimes. Conversations about his character's future grew strained, leaving him frustrated and uncertain. Instead of battling for more storylines, Knight made the tough decision to walk away. But George's exit didn't come without context. Years earlier, in 2006, the Isaiah Washington controversy had cast a shadow over the set. Knight hinted that Rhimes hadn't fully supported his decision to come out publicly at that time, worried it might distract from the show's image. That wound never fully healed. When the writers finally gave George his farewell in Season 5, it was brutal. His selfless act of pushing a woman out of the path of a bus left him unrecognizable in a hospital bed, forcing his friends and fans to realize too late that the hero before them was George. The twist was heartbreaking, a shocking end for a character who often stood in the background. In many ways, George O'Malley didn't get the spotlight he deserved during his years at Seattle Grace. But in his final moments, his quiet courage and tragic death left an unforgettable mark on the series, turning the overlooked intern into one of Grey's Anatomy's most haunting legacies. Which actor comes next on the list? What role did she play in the movie? What brought her to the headlines? Let's dig into the details of the awards winner whose exit was controversial. Katherine Heigl. Katherine Heigl's portrayal of Dr. Izzy Stevens was once one of Grey's Anatomy's brightest highlights. Audiences adored her, and in 2007 she reached the peak of recognition when she won an Emmy for her role. But just a year later, the glow dimmed. Heigl shocked Hollywood when she publicly refused to submit her name for Emmy consideration, explaining that she hadn't been given the material to deserve a nomination that season. What sounded like honesty to some was taken as a public insult to the show's writers, and reports quickly surfaced that executives and colleagues were furious. From there, whispers of tension behind the scenes began to grow louder. Stories circulated about clashes on set, and her once golden reputation started to fade. By March 2010, ABC confirmed her official departure. Heigl framed the exit as amicable and gracious, but Shonda Rhimes later admitted she wasn't surprised, hinting that Heigl's behavior had revealed itself long before. Fans were split. Some mourned the loss of Izzy, remembering her heartfelt storylines and emotional presence. Others felt she had run her course and that the show could finally move forward. Still, her controversial departure became a defining moment in Grey's Anatomy history, proof that the off-screen drama could rival the medical crises and romantic chaos on screen. Heigl's exit was not just the end of a beloved character. It was a reminder that in Shondaland, real-life conflicts could shape the fate of even the most popular stars. The next actor is a lady who left on her own terms. Why did she leave? How did she take her bow? Did she leave any mess? Let's find out. Sandra Oh. Sandra Oh's exit from Grey's Anatomy stands out not for drama, but for its quiet dignity and deep purpose. From the very first episode, she brought Dr. Christina Yang to life, a character who was brilliant, ambitious, and fiercely loyal in her own complicated way. By 2013, however, after nearly a decade of embodying Christina, Sandra Oh made the difficult choice to step away, announcing she would leave at the end of season 10. Her decision wasn't about scandal or creative clashes. It was about knowing she had given everything she could to the role. Oh admitted that saying goodbye was so emotional that she even sought therapy, needing to prepare herself to truly let go of a character who had shaped her life and career. She wanted to honor Christina properly, ensuring her exit felt complete, not rushed or forced. Shonda Rhimes, the show's creator, once described Sandra Oh's audition as one of the greatest days of her career, because Christina Yang transformed the heart of Grey's Anatomy. When the time came for Christina's departure, Rhimes admitted the loss left a painful void, not just in the storylines, but in the spirit of the show itself. Yet, unlike the messy exits of other stars, Sandra Oh's graceful departure showed that leaving Grey's didn't have to mean conflict. Instead, it marked the end of an extraordinary chapter. Fans continue to hold on to Christina Yang's legacy, often speaking about her as though she might stride back into the hospital at any moment. Sharp-witted, unapologetic, and unforgettable. Sandra Oh's farewell was more than just an exit. It was a masterclass in how an actor can leave on her own terms, with respect, love, and a character whose influence still lingers years later. The next actor on the list is one whose exit shook fans the most, as it was least expected. What happened? What did he leave Grey's Anatomy? Let's delve into the details of the exit that led the death of the character. Patrick Dempsey. No departure rattled Grey's Anatomy fans quite like the shocking end of Dr. Derek Shepherd in 2015. For over a decade, Patrick Dempsey had been more than just a cast member. He was the face of the series, the heartthrob, McDreamy, and the man at the center of Meredith Grey's love story. His charm and steady presence drew millions of viewers each week, making his sudden exit feel almost unthinkable. But away from the cameras, things weren't as picture-perfect. Rumors swirled about tension on set, grueling hours, and creative disagreements between Dempsey and the show's leadership. Dempsey himself later admitted that a decade on the same show was a long stretch, and he felt the pull toward fresh opportunities and new challenges. For Shonda Rhimes, Grey's Anatomy's creator, the choice was clear. The only way to close Derek's chapter without lingering questions was to end his story permanently. So, in a heartbreaking twist, Derek Shepherd was killed off. The reaction was explosive. Fans were furious, devastated, and clung to denial, replaying his scenes in disbelief. How could Grey's go on without its dreamiest doctor? Yet, in its boldest gamble, the series forced itself into uncharted territory. Derek's death not only broke viewers' hearts, it pushed the narrative into a new era, one that proved Grey's Anatomy was bigger than even McDreamy himself. Guess who the next actor on the list is? What was her role? Why did she leave Grey's Academy? What happened to the character she was representing? Let's find out. Chyler Leigh. When Lexie Grey first walked onto the screen in Grey's Anatomy as Meredith's half-sister, it wasn't just another storyline twist. It felt like a spark of new life for the show. She wasn't the typical new intern stereotype. Lexie was bright, empathetic, and painfully human. Her near-photographic memory became a quirky strength, but it was her kindness and quiet vulnerability that made her unforgettable. Viewers saw themselves in her struggles, trying to belong in an intimidating world, carving out her identity, and learning to balance ambition with insecurity. Her love story with Mark Sloan added a layer of depth that fans cherished. Their relationship was messy, complicated, but filled with undeniable chemistry and tenderness. It gave the series some of its most emotional and genuinely heartfelt scenes. That's why her death in the Season 8 plane crash was such a seismic blow. It wasn't just another shocking twist in a long line of Grey's Anatomy tragedies. It felt personal. Audiences had invested in Lexie's journey, watching her grow from the shy newcomer into a confident doctor, and losing her felt like losing a friend. The grief was intensified by the heartbreaking way her story ended. Clutching Mark's hand as she slipped away, their love story cut tragically short. What many fans didn't realize at first was that this wasn't solely the vision of showrunner Shonda Rhimes. Chyler Leigh, the actress who embodied Lexie so beautifully, had requested to leave the series. She never publicly explained why, choosing to keep her reasons private, but Rhimes later shared that the decision was mutual and made thoughtfully, though it remained painful for everyone involved. For fans, the heartbreak doubled when Mark Sloan's storyline ended soon after, making the loss of the Lexie and Mark pairing even more devastating. Watching both characters disappear in such a short span created one of the most emotionally crushing arcs in Grey's Anatomy history. It sent a chilling reminder. In this world, no character, no matter how loved, was safe. Even years later, Lexie's death remains etched in fans' memories as one of the show's most gut-wrenching moments. It wasn't just a plot point, it was a turning point. It cemented Grey's Anatomy's reputation as a series unafraid to shatter hearts, delivering not just drama, but raw, unforgettable storytelling. The next actor on the list is one who left after years of performing surgeries in the movie. Who is he? Why did he leave? Let's take a brief shot at the actor who had to move on. Eric Dane. Mark Sloan, better known to fans as the unforgettable McSteamy, was not just another doctor wandering the halls of Grey Sloan Memorial. From the moment he appeared on screen, he commanded attention. With his signature confidence, teasing grin, and undeniable charm, Mark balanced Derek Shepherd's dreamy calm with a fiery energy that was all his own. He was bold, flirtatious, and sometimes reckless, yet beneath that glossy exterior lived a heart full of loyalty, love, and pain. He could light up a scene with one mischievous smirk, but just as easily shatter hearts when his vulnerability slipped through. In 2012, the Grey's Anatomy universe was shaken when actor Eric Dane decided it was time to step away. After years of giving life to the magnetic plastic surgeon, he shared his gratitude for the fans and the series while admitting he was eager to explore fresh creative opportunities. Showrunner Shonda Rhimes echoed his sentiment, explaining that the timing felt right for Mark's story to come to a close, though the way his exit played out left fans devastated. The Season 8 plane crash was already one of the show's most gut-wrenching storylines. Lexie Grey's tragic death tore viewers apart, but when Mark followed not long after, the grief was almost unbearable. It wasn't just the end of his love story with Lexie, it was also the loss of his legendary bromance with Derek Shepherd. Their friendship had given the series some of its funniest, most heartfelt moments, making his departure all the more painful. Though Eric Dane transitioned quickly into a lead role on TNT's The Last Ship, for Grey's fans, McSteamy's absence left a lingering ache. His blend of swagger, humor, and hidden tenderness created a spark that couldn't be replaced. Even years later, viewers still remember him as one of the most magnetic characters ever to grace the series. Mark Sloan's death wasn't just another storyline, it marked the loss of a vital energy, a character who embodied passion, humor, and heart. For many, his departure remains one of Grey's Anatomy's most unforgettable and heartbreaking moments, proof that sometimes television doesn't just lose a character, it loses a piece of its soul. Who is the next on the list? How did she take the bow? How did fans react to her exit? Let's delve into the details of the break that shocked everyone. Sara Ramirez. When Sara Ramirez announced in 2016 that they were stepping away from Grey's Anatomy and their unforgettable role as Dr. Callie Torres, it felt like the ground shifted for fans. For over a decade, audiences had followed Callie's story, her triumphs, heartbreaks, and groundbreaking personal journey. So when the news broke, it seemed sudden, almost unbelievable. The shock was so intense that even Shonda Rhimes, the mastermind behind the series, admitted she only learned of Ramirez's decision a few days before it became public. What made this exit especially striking was its tone. Unlike other cast departures clouded by controversy or creative disputes, Ramirez's farewell was free of drama. There was no scandal, no behind-the-scenes feud, just an honest need for space. After years of carrying heavy, emotional storylines that broke new ground in television, Ramirez wanted time to step back, breathe, and focus on life outside the show's demanding spotlight. Shonda Rhimes, known for her meticulous creative vision, responded with remarkable understanding. Rather than closing Callie's story forever, she reassured fans that the character's journey wasn't truly over. That glimmer of possibility gave comfort to viewers who couldn't imagine the hospital's halls without Callie Torres. For millions, Callie wasn't simply a fictional doctor, she was a cultural milestone. As one of television's most complex and visible LGBTQ+ characters, Callie's storylines of love, identity, and resilience offered rare representation in primetime drama. Through Callie, viewers who often felt unseen finally saw their realities reflected on screen with dignity and depth. Even after Ramirez's departure, Callie's legacy endured. Her impact stretched beyond the screen, inspiring conversations about acceptance, identity, and visibility. Fans continued to carry her story in their hearts, holding on to hope for her return. but also cherishing what she had already given. Callie Torres was never just a character. She was proof that television could be more than entertainment. It could be transformative. Ramirez's portrayal carved out space for stories that mattered, showing that representation isn't just powerful, it's essential. And though her chapter on Grey's Anatomy ended in 2016, the mark Callie left remains one of the show's greatest legacies. Two actors have left the fans stunned. Who are the actors? What was their roles in the movie? Why did they leave? Let's dive into the details of the actresses who left fans with double shock. Jessica Capshaw and Sara Drew. Season 14 of Grey's Anatomy didn't just end, it detonated. Fans who had spent years investing their hearts into the stories of Arizona Robbins and April Kepner were blindsided when the season finale revealed both characters were leaving the show. Arizona, brilliantly portrayed by Jessica Capshaw, and April, given life with Sara Drew's warmth and intensity, weren't just supporting players. They had become pillars of the Grey-Sloan universe, each with powerful storylines that resonated deeply with viewers. Which is why the shock cut even deeper. Their departure wasn't their choice. For once, no scandal lingered in the background, no actor had asked to move on, and no personal project was pulling them away. This decision came straight from the top, from the producers. Almost instantly, whispers turned into full-blown speculation. Had Ellen Pompeo's groundbreaking $20 million salary forced a painful round of budget cuts? Was the math of Hollywood behind the emotional carnage? Fans were convinced. But showrunner Krista Vernoff stepped forward, shutting the rumors down. Money, she said, had nothing to do with it. Instead, she pointed to the writing room. It was about creative direction, the evolution of the series, and difficult choices needed to keep the show moving forward. Even with the explanation, the news stung. Both Capshaw and Drew addressed the exit in raw, heartfelt Instagram posts, expressing gratitude for years of support. They honored their characters. Arizona, the fearless pediatric surgeon whose groundbreaking representation meant everything to countless fans. And April, who had transformed from a nervous intern into a woman of unshakable faith and resilience. Their words were a bittersweet thank you, a final bow, and a reminder that the bond between actor, character, and audience runs deep. For devoted fans, it was more than a casting change. It was another reminder of Grey's Anatomy's unspoken law. No matter how beloved a character becomes, no one is guaranteed safety. In Shondaland, even the strongest storylines can be cut short, not because of scandal, but because unpredictability is the show's lifeblood. Arizona and April's exit wasn't just a loss. It was a brutal statement that kept the series unpredictable, riveting, and, in its own way, heartbreakingly real. In the end, their departure reinforced what makes Grey's Anatomy so addictive. The drama doesn't just unfold on screen, it ripples into the hearts of its audience, leaving them both wounded and hungry for more. Can you guess who the next actor on the list is? Why did he leave? Although he didn't leave with any scandal, many have kept asking why he did. Let's talk about the actor that left from Scrubs to firefighting. Jason George. Not every character departure from Grey's Anatomy ended in heartbreak, controversy, or scandal. While some exits shattered fans and left behind unanswered questions, others became opportunities. Doors swinging open not just for the actors, but for the storytelling universe itself. One of the best examples of this is Jason George, the actor who brought Dr. Ben Warren to life. His farewell wasn't marked by tragedy or bitter endings. Instead, it became the launchpad for something bold, exciting, and new. George himself recalled the pivotal moment with both humor and awe. When Shonda Rhimes, the creative force behind Grey's Anatomy, personally reached out to him, he compared the call to being summoned to the principal's office. There was nervous anticipation, a flicker of fear, but also the sense that something big was about to happen. And he was right. What Shonda offered him wasn't just a storyline. It was a whole new chapter in television. She wanted George to help lead a brand new spin-off, Station 19. For George, this meant stepping out of the surgical scrubs and into firefighting gear, taking Dr. Ben Warren into uncharted territory. Fans who had grown attached to him at Grey Sloan Memorial would now watch him rush into burning buildings, face life-and-death rescues, and navigate the equally intense world of a fire station. But the brilliance of this transition lay in its balance. Unlike many farewells on Grey's Anatomy, Ben's wasn't abrupt. It wasn't goodbye forever. Instead, he became a bridge between two worlds. Through crossover episodes, George's character continued to pop up at Grey Sloan, keeping his ties to the original show alive. This gave fans the comfort of continuity. They didn't lose Ben Warren. They gained a fuller picture of his journey. They could see him still connected to Miranda Bailey, still part of Grey Sloan in spirit, while also thriving in an entirely different arena. His departure felt like a gift rather than a loss. It expanded the Grey's Anatomy universe beyond the hospital walls, showing audiences that there were other stories worth telling. Stories of bravery, teamwork, and sacrifice in a different kind of emergency. For once, fans weren't left mourning. Instead, they celebrated. Jason George's move was proof that not every exit had to sting. Sometimes it could mean growth, for the actor, for the character, and for the fans who got to enjoy the best of both worlds. While it is not possible to have all actors intact for more than a decade, could their exits be free of scandals or misunderstandings? What lessons can be learned from the exits? Let's find out. A legacy of exits and reinventions. If there is one lesson Grey's Anatomy has taught its audience from the very beginning, it is this: no one is untouchable. The show is famous not only for its gripping medical cases or passionate romances, but for the way it rips characters away, sometimes suddenly, sometimes slowly, leaving fans stunned and heartbroken. Over the years, viewers have learned to watch with both excitement and fear, because in Grey Sloan Memorial Hospital, even the most beloved doctor can vanish without warning. The departures often came from different sources. Some were the result of bitter behind-the-scenes arguments. Others were shaped by personal choices made by the actors who felt it was time to step away. And sometimes it was simply the writers, determined to shock the audience and keep the story moving forward, who decided a character's journey had reached its end. Grey's Anatomy has turned cast departures into one of its greatest strengths. Rather than weakening the show, each exit sparked fresh beginnings, new dynamics, and unexpected storylines that kept fans invested. What first felt like loss often transformed into curiosity. Who would step up? How relationships would change? And what direction the story would take? This constant cycle of heartbreak and renewal became the show's heartbeat, reflecting real life where people leave and others must adapt and move forward. By thriving on change instead of resisting it, Grey's Anatomy remained resilient, unpredictable, and compelling for nearly 2 decades. In the end, those departures were never just endings. They became fuel that kept Grey's Anatomy alive and beating. They reminded us that nothing stays the same forever. Not in life, and not in television. And that, ironically, is the show's greatest strength. Its willingness to embrace change, to let go of what was, and to dive headfirst into what comes next. Grey's Anatomy doesn't just tell stories about survival. It lives it year after year. So, who do you think has the most genuine reason for leaving Grey's Anatomy? We would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe.